Good evening. Hello and welcome. My name is Seth. This is Sweet Chariot. And instead of chasing wenches on Saturday night, I'm here scraping wood. And if that ain't worth a like and a subscribe, then what the hell? I don't know. Yes, we're working on this piece of ash again this evening. And I promise I will get this one done. I've just given it, I think, what is going to be its final bit of shape. It's not perfect. I tried to give it reflex on the tips. And I sent it wonky. And I straightened them up again. I'll get it over on a straight edge and see how it's looking. I haven't strung it yet. Let's see where yeah, I'm just getting nervous. I think we're in the right spot. It was shooting well, drawing well. Just needed to give it a little bit more tension in there. Be a man about it. Have some stones and give it a bit more front set, which we have done the best of my abilities. There's actually two knots, two sort of uneven, knotty bits of material. I've left a bit thick along here. We're almost there. This isn't the bow we're here to see though, so that's just a note. I will finish that bow there. Put it down here so it doesn't get damaged. Where we should be. It's going to back set when I draw it. It's good though. I need to chill out. It's a good working bow, that one. And it is possible to do things to it that will make it not a good working bow. So just need to relax. Remember, it needs a longer string and take it steady. Start working on this guy. That sounds good, doesn't it? This is a piece of ash what I drug out the forest before it rotted, and is now nice and cured. It's got that colour, that slightly creamy colour instead of white, even as we cut through it. So what are we going to do today? First, say hello. Thank you to the subscribers. Thank you for dropping in. I hope to do more of this. It takes a lot of energy, and we're in England, which is how would I describe it? It's difficult. Let's say it's difficult to make money. I mean, and what I'm trying to do here with crafting and whatnot, and being self-employed and in doing other jobs, van work and such. I mean, yeah, van work is not the best paid anyway. The van takes a lot of money to run, so yeah, things are difficult. But I would like to keep on doing this. This is something I feel I need to keep as part of my persona, my character, my humanity, and furthermore, since we all live under the same sky, it's something I feel I should keep on demonstrating to others. So all that being said, thank you for dropping in if you have, and consider subscribing. Tell your friends. Yeah, let's make this work. Do something. So yeah, what am I going to do today, aside from that, is tidy this whole thing up. I need to cleave off both sides, sort of box it all down, so I'm not worried so much about this, you know, the belly and the, or I should talk about the belly first. This would have been, oh, much snagged on there, that's weird. There's a screw come up. Keep that in mind. Should I screw that down? I'll screw it down later. Yes, this side is the belly, i.e. the side that's going to face away from you, and it did have the bark on it. This was literally the layer underneath the bark. This is the cadmium layer right here. That goes between the wood and the bark. So we've got some little cuts going into it. I think my buddy Joey started this one. He's done a pretty good job of tidying it all up. I'm pretty sure you're going to want a clean growth ring on ash. I'm not 100%, someone could chime in and tell me straight away. I'll go back through my comments or give it a quick Google. A lot of woods, you need to retain a growth ring. A growth ring being one of these guys. So if you imagine it sliced through and then you look at it this way, it appears in a different way. all depending on how circular your piece of wood is. So if you've got an incredibly circular piece of wood and you've done a flat cut on it, you're going to cut through all the growth rings. All these growth rings on the side that should be complete have been violated. So if you've cut flat, if you were chasing a growth ring, you'd then get rid of all these other remainders of the growth ring on the other side of your cut. I showed it on the piece of yew before now. When you're cutting away from a knot, it sort of looks like a spider's web as you're cutting through those growth rings, and you can pick up the growth ring. Obviously it's flat, it's not a ring. Here, it's a ring here, so you're sort of just cleaving off a piece of wood, getting rid of that sucker. So there's no area to peel up. You keep yourself a nice solid piece of wood. But I don't know if that is essential on ash. Obviously you don't want any of these little cuts, you want it all looking nice and tidy. But I don't know how rounded you could go. See, we've got a really nice flat piece here. It's quite a large log, so there's going to be a little bit of rounding that happens. But yeah, if we don't need to chase the growth ring, that makes things a little bit easier. But Osage Orange is one that definitely, I've heard that recently. You have to follow a growth ring on that one. Let me start some cutting while I chat. Let's see. At this point, it'd be really easy to go too narrow, and I think, well, I've been sort of annoyed at myself, but just sort of going, wow, why my bow's more powerful? It's because you started from really. I've worked through my smallest, shortest bits of wood first, and they've often come from branches like this, so there isn't actually an incredibly wide piece of wood to work from. And I haven't done it that much. I've sort of played around with short longbow designs that, they worked, but they weren't very good. I did the design configuration I was doing. A couple of them worked really well though, to be fair. But yeah, I did that configuration on an actual sort of English longbow length stave, and that worked really well. I was up around 150 feet per second with an arrow that was too heavy for it. Which was really impressive. Shot, felt like a longbow as well. You could feel that lovely smooth draw and just slow but heavy release of power, even though it was just a 35-pound bow. And my first bow sale. I was surprised it sold, but I'm very happy it did. Yeah, I hope they're getting along with it. I shot it lots. I remember standing right here and shooting it and going, it's done. It put the three aluminium arrows designed to shoot. It's got a center cut, so it was designed to shoot modern arrow materials. Just did a really nice group. Just felt lovely. It's like, right, cool. Here we go. Let's post it. Yeah, I hope they're enjoying that. I hope it's lasted. It's got my name on it. It says Sweet Chariot on it. See, I would be lying if I said I didn't feel a bit of imposter syndrome when they bought it. In fact, I had a whole bunch of bows listed, but they work. They absolutely work. I promise you that. You can go back through the channel and you can see them working. But what I didn't have was a chronograph and a variety of arrows for the different weights, or a proper idea about front set and potential energy. But they worked. So while I go ahead and sort of learn about the finer, the final, let's say, sort of precision alterations you've got to make to these bows to make them work really well. Let's not forget those stubby little branches of yew that I cut the centre out of and glued a bit of wood to the back. They work. What pushed me on was the desire to make a faster bow, a longer drawing bow, and sort of a combination of those things. But I guess what got into my mind was that the chasing the arrow speed. And it's a good thing to do, because obviously it demonstrates that you've nailed the design and you've achieved what the most of what the wood can do. because you know other people have done it. But then if you start chasing arrow speeds, then you can forget. Well, you can start to forget about the feel of the bow, and that's really important when it comes to learning technique, because accuracy doesn't come from the bow. Of course it does, but it's nothing. It does nothing until the archer uses consistent technique to use that equipment. So if the objective is putting 3 arrows in the center of a target at a short distance, then your target isn't armored. It doesn't need to be throwing a really heavy arrow. What it does need to be is steady and stable. And that comes from a nice gentle draw, a nice smooth gentle draw, and you engineer that into the bow with effectively less power. I should have a glass of water here. Less power and more stored energy. A smoother draw curve. Or you could say a full recurve bow is going to give you the best speed, but it's not necessarily going to give you the smoothest draw, the smoothest release of power either. There's a lot of stored energy in those wee limbs. This is the beauty of the English longbow. So I just tidied this belly up just a little bit, see where we are. Yeah, the beauty of that English longbow is the fact that you've got these big, long limbs with lots of material there. Stores a lot of energy and releases it smoothly. With these short recurve bows, it stores a lot of energy, but it releases it really very quick. So there's a trade-off. Do you want an extremely fast bow, or do you want an extremely comfortable bow, or do you want that sweet spot between the two? And that is what I believe this is going to achieve. This bit of front set here, it's just that tickling into the area of, well, we can get more speed. We can get these limbs to return to their resting point just a little bit quicker than what they are. But it shoots. I got this raggedy piece of wood from the forest, and it's shooting arrows well. Do I really want to just be chasing arrow speeds for the sake of, someone else said they could do it on the internet? No, I think I've got to really. Hopefully, I got to string it again. I'm letting it cool down at the minute. It's only about an hour ago that I heated it up. So I don't want to string it yet, but I will tonight and see how it feels. It's going to be that moment where I start drawing on it. I'm convinced it will just go bang, just instantly. So no, you've changed my shape and now I don't like it and I'm going to explode. There's only one way to find out. Yeah. The beauty of self-bow making. Really. You can waste a lot of energy, I'm not going to lie. But if we didn't do it, we wouldn't have a U self-bow now, would we? And that's just not an option in the world we are quite quickly slipping into. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then go outside. I will need to remark the middle pretty soon. Okay, so what I'm going to do is box it up, make it all squared off and nice, and then we're going to draw some limbs on there. Sketch me some limbs. Doing big cuts at the move. I'll see if I can recall some of the things people have told me about ash bows. I hear it's compression that's their issue. I.e. this side. So I believe fire hardening is something you can do with ash and hazel, with whitewoods. It's definitely something you can do with birch. It's the magic ingredient with birch, I believe. A special relationship with fire. Birch is a very important tree. It has loads of mushrooms. You can drink its sap. There's more. The wood's useful. The bark has a huge amount of uses, being loaded with oil and waterproof. And it's one that I want to do. Yeah, you can carve it green and then fire harden it, and have a bow knocked out quite quickly. As ash, it's quite tough. This knife is very sharp. I'm saying that, it could be sharper. It's definitely not blunt. I gave it a run over the other day, but it has, I'm wearing the worst jumper for doing this, it has been attacking you, which is very hard. And going through bark as well, that's the other thing that will blunt knives, because there's a lot of grit in bark. Yeah, I want to keep this as wide as possible. So the last two bows I've made, very similar. You can't say more or less identical, because that's just not true. They look very different when you start looking up close. But dimension-wise, with the handle, the length of the limbs, the width of the limbs, the shaping of the limbs, they are very similar. Very happy with them though, to be honest. Gotta be honest. My little brain glitches. Yes, they are an improvement on the other bows that I've made. Once again, I'd have to put it in a chronograph, over a chronograph, but I'm pretty sure I'm getting faster arrow speeds with half the poundage. And that would make sense if you look at the bows, put them side by side. You know, there's just a decent amount of of inches back set. Even though you've got these big old meaty limbs, you've got this heavy draw bow that just doesn't perform. And so yeah, the first ones, the later ones I did definitely were drawing full length, but that's not difficult when you've got the bow back set and you're just not getting the performance that you should. I do need to get back on them again. I left Thatcher and one of the other ones maybe. With the archery guys, and yeah, you had an enjoyable shoot. I mean, I was at that point prepared to leave these back set bows for them to test out and just to hopefully be pleasantly surprised, which they were. I mean, because yeah, a bow could just be literally a bendy stick. It's the fact that we've been able to find the limits of the material over such a long period of time. There is really some expectations here. I'm doing the bit that I'm pretty sure is the same, is correct. And I mentioned before, like yew, or at least these bits of yew that I've been using, sort of raggedy and rounded as they are, they've really not been, you can't draw on them, you can't, well, aside from sort of marking central lines, but maybe not even then, because they might have a bit of a swerve on there. So I've been eyeballing it, but looking down, I'm going to put the log just over there, stave over there, sorry. This one's looking very straight. Really what I can do right now is mark a central line where I can, you know, I can see it. I'm gonna tidy up the other side first. Take a little bit off this end. And I'll be able to run a line. Yeah, I could do it now, couldn't I? Have I got something to do it with? That's all good. Yeah, that's what I should sort of focus on at this point. The main takeaway from this stage, it'd be very easy to take away poundage of your bow with just one cut here, because you know, if you're trying to create tapers, you know, a nice orderly limb, you're going to have to, if you pull out a bit of wood here, you're going to have to get the rest of the limb to match that defect in your wood. And that could take it from a 2-inch wide bow to a 1-inch wide bow. It's probably not what you want. That's looking much better. So let's spin them around, do the other end, create some order on this bad boy. I hope this works. It's a really, really nice stave. So I'm not even really looking down the middle at the minute, just going off of the depth of the split. I think that. Let's do a bit more of the handle, I think, so I don't go deep. I'm just going to do the handle the same width. I don't know if you can see from there, we got just be slightly lighter. I've taken away this where it drops away. Obviously, it's still oxidized and not cut yet. It's just one of the ways that you can gauge where you are, and sort of use that sculpting eye, just sort of squint it and go, well, I need this part to be here. In fact, this entire area is going to be slimmed right down, so I can look around and go, well, there's no problems there. The handle isn't going to be any less wide than this. That's actually I'm going to go slightly slimmer than this, but that's still quite deep. So if we sort of drop down this taper, we've got plenty of material to be creating our handle with. We haven't got any sort of defects, something like this, to try and create a handle out of that as well. It's going to be tricky. Just one of those things you got to try and think about ahead of time. Yes, back to flattening them up. Take a little bit off the middle. Still, my spoke force is working a little bit better because I've screwed down this work platform. I mean, traditional tools, I've not even had time. There's lots of stuff to talk about in this realm. All the tools, the materials, the other accessories, you call that a tool. Yeah, the nature surrounding it. And there's probably more I can't even think about because I don't want to screw this up. And so you think about it, the actual width of the bow. Can you see it? It's like a. Let's drop that on my leg. Got a sort of a triangular split here. Some of it's over this way more. Some of it sort of cuts in this way. So yeah, okay. Yeah. This is how I've ended up quite narrow on some of my other bows, I think. And reminds you how important a good split is. Of course, we're going to have plenty of wood to work with. I want to get as close to 2 inches as possible. Yeah, it's right at the wedge as well, the thinnest part. Yeah, it's this handle area is going to be center over here. Yeah, I think we'll be okay. Just a bit of a swerve on the end, this makes it hard to do is take this section off. And that should give us a real nice anchor limb. I've mentioned this before. You sort of pick a feature because you can change certain things about the wood. If we start from the right place. So let me just let me double check this. Because if I'm making this sort of sort of swerves out here. Yeah. Yeah. Or do I pop? No, let's clean up the other limb first, because that one actually, it could potentially end up being a little bit straighter than the other one. And just this is what I mean, sort of to get this looking really straight, we've got to, you know, sort of just keep on removing material and just make sure that we don't remove too much, and particularly in the wrong place. Right, I'm just going to keep on squaring this one off. And we have to do this bit. We've got some feathery stuff here. What I'm thinking is even, oh yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Just be careful there. Don't think you have to worry about dives as much with ash, I'm noticing, or unless you've got knots and whatnot in it. Your famous last words. And this is just trying to create an even edge as close to this belly as possible. Because we're going to be going narrow and thin anyway, and rounding off. I think I'm worrying too much. We got plenty of wood. But plenty of wood can disappear really quickly, and then become not enough wood. A bit more on the handle. Down there, you bastard. I guess getting the handle squared up is a important part. And firstly, you've got to find it in the middle of your usable piece of wood, and in many cases that will be a good anchor point to start from, so you sort of make the handle as you wish it to be. It's exactly what we're going to do actually, I think, because these limbs are near enough, or they got the same little just mess on the back. The handle is going to need to be squared off with the back for a start, which is pretty good. Need to get, no, I can't do it yet. My extra little latch involved. Stay put, you bastard. It's hard to talk and a knife at the same time. It's like as well. I suppose that'll do. Unless it knocks everything over. Now as we do that, it's going to widen up just a little bit, obviously, because we're tapered like that. Give us a good idea of exactly how straight this stave is. A little bit on that side. If you think about it, yeah, it's going to look straight, but you've got the grains of a tree here, and depending on what species you got, they're really straight. Ash grows very straight indeed, but of course, some little wiggles. So, I think I'm worrying too much. What did I do last? Yeah, you can see it here. This is the thinnest part. So I guess this is sort of our anchor point, where we have to craft from, because we need to make that as wide as it can be with what we've got. So you think our taper is going to run away from here. If you're too narrow here, you're going to run the possibility of creating a hinge. You think we might be running up to the wedge here. The wedge is going to be a bit more down here. And I think that is sort of where we start from. There goes the knife. So let's it's got the option of just sort of tweaking the bend later on. It's going to make it tricky to carve out though. Sorry if this isn't thrilling entertainment. I should be dropping interesting facts about ash while I'm doing this. I'm sort of keen to not screw it up. Damn it. Go back in. Just debating in my mind which angle to sort of attack first. Keeping what I just said in mind about this thin area. So I actually want to make some progress. Right, I'm going to clean up the thin area a second. Just to make it a bit clearer in my mind's eye. Blend it with the handle a little bit more. Oh, to anyone who's still watching, thanks very much. I guess we're used to seeing these sorts of builds in 60-second shorts, and it doesn't really do justice to the amount of effort. I mean, I don't go to the gym. I would love to go to the gym. Might run into some females there. I don't really need it. Got some physical work. And I don't particularly want to do not physical work because I fear it's not for me. Unfortunately. We'll get there eventually, I'm sure, but I remember thinking a long time ago, I could not imagine continuing to wear a shirt and tie after leaving school. Having had to wear a blazer, shirt, tie, shoes. This is not comfortable to me. I get it, but it ain't for me. Now, it's the part where I've just got to be a little bit tentative. Just sort of uncovering the shape. I think we're okay. Let's not go too far this way. Well, I mean, yeah. I think the worst case scenarios, you might have to do some bending. I might have to do some bending, some straightening and bending, which is likely. It just makes a much less powerful bow than what I intended. See, there's less of a taper of a drop off on this side. So it's sort of about trying to shift the bow that's in there sort of over to that side a little bit, so we're less in need. Let's take off this edge here. I think we're pretty safe in doing that. Still quite a ways up. I notice I haven't really busted out the tape measure. I haven't at all in this video. It's all, right now, all being defined by the bit of wood. Specifically, that area right there. So if I think I'm trying to put it over to this side, I can be quite comfortable just taking away anything that's thicker from that little area down there. So it's which side to take it away from. That's what I was deliberating before, stewing on. I have the feeling it's going to need straightening. I'm going to straighten it out down the road, or sort of try and get the handle to head that way. But then, is there enough material? I think there is. So, yeah, combination of, it's just a very, yeah, it's very hard to describe. If you're able to see where your bow is, there's a few twists and turns you can do to sort of make the bends that you'll need to do down the road less severe, I guess is the way to put it. It's not much. I might be talking out my ass there, I don't know. Try sculpting and see what I'm talking about. Yeah, see, the stave hit me in the stomach is just part of the penance. You've done better in life, Seth. You'd be in a bar, drinking a cocktail and doing illicit substances around easy women. I mean, shit, this is Bristol. Don't really need a budget for that. Seems like slow progress is because it is. I want to get this one right. I'm doing a series. I want it to be the same piece of wood that finishes as what I started with. I can already see an issue. I don't know how much of an issue it is with ash. We just got a little wave in the grain here. Just a little whoops. So very easily, if you are trying to, you doubtless cut through the growth rings here, that is a spot that is likely to become a hinge. So I'm going to need to know what to do about that. Do you leave a little bit of sort of negative extra material just to sort of shore that area up a little bit? Someone, feel free to tell me. Spill those trade secrets. I mean, hell, it would be lovely to sell more bows. Like I said before, I'm surprised that I did. I've continued to hone the craft and also do walking sticks on the side. Because my walking sticks have sold rather well. Like, I never believed that they will, but they all do disappear. I've got more than I feel comfortable having right now. So if anyone's watching still, I'm not sure how long this video is. Please feel free to come check out my sticks on eBay. So I can't make more until I sell them. Yeah, if they don't sell, I've got to make, sniff out ways of making money other ways. So if they sell, I can sit here and turn wood into cool things and get better at doing that, which would be awesome in a plastic world with people who in charge who have forgotten the parables about honesty and integrity. And not just the people in charge, if I'm honest. That time I meant to say, if I'm honest. So I feel it's important to be. We're expecting those people to solve a problem that is impossible to solve unless we all join together to make the same decision, to live better, treat each other better, hold each other accountable in the right way. Don't let money and power run the show. Let love and goodness run the show. Let that be the baseline rather than greed. Because right now, greed and anger is stopping us from exploring the stars, and we can take the figure that's been dropped in Europe on war lately, go ask an AI engine what that money could have done, however many billions or trillions or whatever, ask what that money could do if it went to where it should. We'd probably be on Mars by now. Or more. And it took the last 100 years of military spending. Alright, we're looking good. Think about all the military spending. I was just thinking on Sweet Chariot. So how do I square that circle about the chariot in the name of my channel here? Well, the chariot is a metaphorical one and a literal one, I guess, for the channel. But yeah, it's a concept, isn't it? If you decide to be interested in trees and wood, what they can do and what they have done for us for so long, then you're on the chariot, aren't you? Ain't you? And then more literally, if you come and join the channel, you're on the chariot. Which please consider doing, and if you have, thanks so much. Honestly, how long has this been going on now? My back is starting to hurt just a little bit. It's not been heavy cutting. There's been a fair amount of it. Can you see what I'm talking about? You should be able to see some flat edges appearing and then some sort of dips in the wood. As we get closer to the belly here, I'm sort of just trying to create that flat area and see how wide it stays as we do that. But which side I've sort of been taking material away from is defined by where the handle's going to lie. And the handle is defined by this skinny area here. I think we're good. I should be able to pick up a line pretty soon of where I can start, you know, properly flatten it down, taking away big chunks of material. Yeah, now is the time to do the string line. Now that I've squared it up a wee bit. Still a bit of a lump out here, we'll do that. This old carbon bit has effectively been figuring out, excuse me, where the string line needs to lie. Get rid of that just a little bit. Just shave this area quick, and then I'll get the string and get the string line on. And that is probably what we're going to call this video, aside from Seth talking about pointless, no, not pointless. Seth talking about his morals, wagging his finger at the general public for not caring more about where their plastic goes. I've had a certain perspective. I worked in reuse, worked with charity shops for a long time, where I collected stuff that they couldn't sell or didn't want to sell. So quite a large network of shops, so yeah, quite a lot of it, and all went in containers over to various developing world nations. And it worked for a little bit. Everyone was able to make money, and obviously it worked for the shop because their stuff disappeared. But then something happened in the shipping industry world. Certain parts of the world, I gotta be careful now, don't go too narrow, there we go. Certain parts of the world started denying the containers entry to the country, because containers from here were getting sent over there with disgusting, maggot infested, rotten plastic packaging. And it was supposed to have been washed so it could be recycled. Threw up all manner of extra charges and costs. That was all happening around the time of lockdown as well. So it all just sort of came, it felt like it came crashing down. Just this big, dirty secret that the UK had and other countries. We were not getting the full truth about our processes, our industrial processes. It's still a little bit wide there. String line is going to be just off center, I think. No, we will run it. We will run it down the middle and alter it if we need to. See how it looks at least. Yeah, can I string line the front? I can absolutely. String line the front. You can do it by eye, but I'm not going to do that. That's silly. How am I going to do that? Some duct tape would have been a good shout. Let me see if I can jimmy something. Yep. Let us tie a knot like this, maybe. Then run it like that. Yeah, that's the one. Just get my paracord and just did a little loop around the end there to keep them in place. Need to make sure that is in the center though. I think we can go down the center. I think the center is okay. So yeah, a cool way to do it would be use a chalk string. Let's see, it's going to struggle with its deflex. Let's just wrap that sucker around there. Get on, you bastard. Stay put. Yeah, I think that's as good as I can hope for now. Right, how am I going to do this? Roughly. Just thumb him in. Is that the techers there? Oh, running wide there. Oh, pushed it over too much. Sure, there's people screaming. Well, if anyone's still watching, once again, you don't do it like that. Yeah, I know, probably not. What I did was start the video without really getting all my tools together or having a proper think about it. But I think as long as we have a nice rough middle line, we should be okay. Yeah, that's fine. It really doesn't look in the middle. Or is it the, yeah, well, here we go. This is our little swerve here. And the other one here. As I talk about, just a rough line. Because the center might move just a very small amount, depending on what these little limb areas say. I haven't even, we'll see. We've been removing material on the side, so we don't know how wide exactly it is yet. We are bang on 2 inches on this bit. I don't, just a smidge under 2 inches. See? So this is gonna have to be carved down to the same width as that. So we get, yeah, it's 1/8 of an inch under 2 inches on that cross section there. So that is how wide I'm going to try and make this bow. Very strictly. Fascinating stuff, Seth. Concentrate on your pencil. Over this side. I'm going to eyeball it underneath the pencil instead is a better way than I don't affect the pencil. That looks like it's done a better job, to be honest. Yeah, use that eyeball. Serve you well. As long as I have eyes, I will use them. Even though mine aren't very good. Yep. We shall see. It's tricky, you know, bow making. Who'd have thought it? I thought it was easy. At no point have I ever thought this woodworking malarkey was easy. Everything's heavy and sharp, dusty, delicate. Weird mixture of strong and delicate. And there we are, a center line I probably could have just drawn on. But it was better to have the string. Let's just chuck that down there. That's pretty good, bit of a deviation there. I think we're going to end up about 1.5 inches. Nah, a bit more. Maybe. What is that? Aim for 1 3/4, I reckon. So run this tape measure down there and hopefully not find a bit that goes narrower than 1 3/4. Which I don't think we do. So there we go. That's probably taken longer than I thought it would actually to clean that up and just mark a central line on it. That gives us just somewhere to. We'll also aim to drop it down onto the face. Gonna be taking a lot of the face material away, the spine. Spine? It's even called the spine. The belly. So I convinced myself that this was called the belly and this was the spine before. This is the belly, that's the back. So there's going to be a lot of material coming away from the belly of the bow still. So I won't bother marking a central line just yet all the way down through. I'll mark it there. Actually, that seems to give me quite a good idea. Gives me a line through all of this mess. I won't be able to run the string line properly until I've taken a little bit more material away from the handle here. But this is what is screwing with me. So let's just go ahead and knock through the stages that gets us to the point of taking away that material. We're almost there. We've gauged everything nicely. So if you go in just hacking stuff away, you could create problems. You could just write off this lovely piece of ash, couldn't you, Seth? Yes, you could. I'm not crazy, you're crazy. Cool. Neat. I feel I'm going to have to get down to about here before I get a good idea of where the string line lies, so we can start imagining our handle here. See that? If anyone's still here, we're going to have a sexy little horsebow handle, rough them out. Somewhere around there. And then some wedges somewhere around here. You see, ideally you want this nice flat surface to draw on, so you could mark out exactly how deep you're going to go. And I actually don't know what that is yet. So clean up this front growth ring. I did just want to do a little bit of drawing on. Just so we could start getting an idea of what this bad boy might look like. Watch out for the bird poo. I think it's bird poo. No, it couldn't be. It must have been leant up against another log. So it could be bird poo. Something like that, right? And that is our rough mark. You might want to be a bit deeper than that. Maybe something like a ½ inch down to around ¼ inch, or is it 3/4 inch to a ½ inch maybe? Or just keep a solid. So that's 3/4 inch there. Like I say, don't know how much material is going to come off the front still. So it's just a rough idea. Down at the tip, that's more or less a ½ inch. So if you think about the tip of the bow is going to be, well, anywhere between a ½ inch and ¼ inch, something like that. It's going to be much slimmer than that for sure. So you want to start, yeah, mark out a point where you're just not going to cause yourself any trouble if you end up cutting two. Because you're going to obviously need to remove material gradually. So you need to leave yourself some material to remove gradually. Simple, right? Go on, let's run a... It's all going to get cut off. Let's go ahead and run another line. See that little waggle in the grain? Is there one either end? Because that'd be helpful in a way. No, that is our little waggle there. Could make the call at this point, since we have so much material left, to excuse me, make a shorter bow and shift the central point of the bow. So move the handle a little bit up this ways. So this little waggle here isn't quite as much in the active limb. You could maybe end it up with it around the tip, like here, maybe. But is that then worth losing that amount of length of bow? I don't know. All depends how long it would end up. I don't want it shorter to be quite frank, young'un. I've done shorter, and what, 64, 76 is the longest I've done. But and sort of 60 and 64 is the shorter. I haven't done ones between that. So as I mentioned before, I haven't got strings or a good tillering string to be shooting all these different length bows. I should do that. Get a solid tillering string. Because then you can create a temporary string by which you can test the particular bow that you've created. Yeah, see if you can see that. Probably not with some of those shadows and grains in the way. But that is more or less what we're gonna end up looking like. Hopefully. fingers crossed and all prayers said. What do you see out of that? No, you need to be slower. Yeah, this is the process I've just gone through with this one, making sure these wedges are the right shape. Ooh, let's get that straight in there. Look at that limb shape almost matches exactly. This is going to change shape though. I can string this up now, but I'm going to do that on a different video. Don't get to see that on this video. I need to keep the focus on the ash. So you can go over there and don't explode on me, please. Cool. Well, thanks for sticking with me, everyone. This has probably been like an hour, and I hope you enjoyed it. Slow progress. This is why I sort of tend to do it off camera. How much entertainment is it really, seeing, watching a man hack away at his wood just time after time? Whoop. Maybe very. Let me know, please. It's lovely to hear from y'all. Makes me make me think there is actually a point to doing this, rather than having some cool bows to play around with. Yeah, I've actually got two online for sale, 2 up on eBay, working really well. Agent and Hoodoo. Both got lower weight flat bows, 27 and 28 pounds, and they just perform really well. They're gorgeous. I mean, you could buy some extravagant laminate bows, but I think is just gorgeous. I mean, look at these sticks here. This is what you end up with, a bow that looks like this. Well, more accurately, you know, just chucked it out, a bow that looks like this. They are fantastically good looking. Look at that handle, look at that, those growth rings. That's a perfect example of growth rings. If this is a wood where I need to chase the growth rings, that is a growth ring there. Obviously, because it comes up into this lump material, this lump shape here, it actually presents itself as a ring. This is one of the rings. This is one of the layers of the trunk. The shape has created this little ring here. There's another one right there. This lets me know that it is just slightly thicker here than it is here. You could just remove this ring by scrape, and that entire ring would just shrink and disappear. And that is your growth ring chased. You've chased your growth ring away, and you could do it here as well. Get a little bit closer. That is a growth ring. So you start rubbing that guy, and it would just shrink, disappear. And this is the growth ring underneath it. This one runs almost all the way to the tip. So it's one of the ways, I mean, even though the structure of it isn't reliant, the structure isn't relying on chasing growth rings. More growth rings here. These are areas I've left thicker because of the knots. It's a good way to gauge how much material you've taken away, where you may be making it weaker and then creating hinges. I'm keen to get this one strung up, so let's do that. Thanks for dropping in, everyone. I've been Seth, this has been Sweet Chariot, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Get string for this so it's as fast as it can be. Nice low brace height, but it does shoot, so I'm going to go do some shooting with this one, I think. Thanks again, everyone. Take it steady.